Noynoy Aquino versus Bongbong Marcos. Now, these are two leaders who became presidents of the Philippines who were sons of former rivals back in the 80s, 70s. Now, so these are the sons of two big names that people now can see became presidents in their own time. No? So it's a very funny situation where dati magkalaban yung mga tatay nila. Eventually, one after the other, nagiging presidente din sila ng Pilipinas. Ngayon, from their presidencies, we can see the difference. Of course, right now, hindi pa na natapos ni President Bongbong Marcos yung kanyang presidency, but at least we have a semblance now of his leadership style versus the style of former President Noynoy Aquino. So let's first talk about the similarities and the differences, and then let's tackle them deeper. So that what can you see are the similarities and differences of both Noynoy Aquino and Bongbong Marcos?
Well, basically, pareho kasi more or less yung ibang kanilang leadership style, no? Management style. I would say management style, no? Si President Noynoy kasi, former President Noynoy, ang style niya more of a kumbaga delegated authority siya, no? So more of a less of a hands-on manager, no? He is more of like a statesman, and then he delegates the governance to his trusted allies, no? So that's his style. Also the same with more or less President Marcos, no? He's more like a delegated authority approach management system rather than a hands-on approach system, no? So he also delegates a lot of his responsibility to a lot of professionals or cabinet secretaries, no? So in that particular case, medyo similar sila, pareho yung kanilang mga management approach, no?
Yes.
And then siguro tingnan din natin yung background, no? Kasi nga, both of them went through a difficult childhood or adulthood, no? For Noynoy, I think it was around he was around 12 to 13 years old when his father was arrested during martial law and was incarcerated. So they went through a terrible time during that time. So he was growing up as a kid, as a young teenager, going through this experience. Si President Bongbong naman, during that time when when People Power 1 happened, I think he's around 26, 28 years old already at that time. No? So he's more or less an adult. But he also went through that kind of experience, no? That difficulty of being, going through a challenging life. No? So they have both more or less similar experience at a different time frame of their lives. No? So yun ang kanilang similarity. And then, of course, when they were growing up, they both have strong fathers. No? Yung mga magulang nila, medyo strong leaders. No? Kay President Noynoy, ang tatay niya, si Senator Ninoy Aquino, is a very strong kumbaga person also. Kumbaga he is also recognized as one of the potent political leaders during that time. No? So kinikilala siya, tinitingala siya as a medyo tough leader din, no? Si Senator Ninoy. Si President Bongbong Marcos, yung tatay niya, si President Marcos Sr. is also considered as a strong man. No? So both grew up under a strong man father, no? So yun ang kanilang similarity, no? And then of course, ang mga similarity diyan is normally kasi they have a trusted ally or trusted relative, no? In the particular case of Noynoy, more or less he trusted more of Mar Rojas to help him govern the nation. In the case of President Bongbong Marcos, he more or less trusted his cousin, no? Speaker Martin Romualdez, to help him govern the nation, no? So these are the two similarities, and the experiences also is quite similar, no? Kasi kung titingnan mo, kung babalikan natin history, kinakailangan kasi sabi nga nila, you have to learn from history, no? To guide you in the future, no? Ganun din nangyari, no? When Mar Rojas became more or less his trusted lieutenant, ang nangyari, Mar Rojas wanted to be president also after him.
Yes.
So he was also going after the vice president at that time, no? Talagang they are trying to somehow find something wrong with the vice president at that time, no? Who was quite very popular also during that period. No? Si Vice President Giorgio Binay was very popular too during that period. No? So everybody thought he would be the next president. But because that time Secretary Maros is also looking at running for president, so definitely they're going after Vice President Binay's shortcomings or mistakes. No? They're looking for what they can throw at him so that somehow they can somehow stop him from running for president. No? Ganun din ngayon sa nangyayari kay President Bongbong Marcos, no?
Yes. The former speaker wanted to impeach the current vice president.
Correct, no? So former speaker is like one of his trusted lieutenant also, no? So, and his cousin cousin and his good friend at that time when they were young. So,
Yes.
siyempre, he has somehow trusted also the former speaker, no? And the former speaker is also looking at the possibility of running for president, and Vice President Sara is somehow a threat, no? Kumbaga, sa mga makakalaban niya. So, siyempre, kung may mali, hahanapan din niya ng, kumbaga, mali, no? Para sa ganun, malaman ng mga tao na ito yung mga pagkakamali niya, at the same time, para nang sa ganun, mas humanga sa kanya yung mga tao. So, more or less, they went through the same kind of experiences, so, kung titingnan natin. No?
Yes.
So both naman, basically, have different characteristics also, no? Kasi si Pinoy, siyempre, that time, he is more like a statesman also, pero hindi lang siya as visible in terms of going through different kumbaga areas, no? O hindi katulad ni President BBM, mas highly visible siya sa mga different functions and different kumbaga inaugurations or mga visiting places, no? Mas active siya in terms
of... He's more well-traveled than
yes,
Pinoy, it seems, no?
He's more well-traveled in different localities and he's more visible. But in fairness to Pinoy, he's also visible in terms of media. He's also, he delivers well his speeches, and same with President Bongbong Marcos. So they are more or less, may mga similarity rin sila, no? Siguro mga key distinction lang, no? Kasi nga si Pinoy that time, he's a bachelor, wala siyang asawa, no? So si President Bongbong Marcos naman, siyempre he has a family. So siyempre, those are just the key differences, no? When it comes to being a leader, mga management style, and mga strengths and weakness nila, no? So yun ang mga nakikita natin.
One of the key differences lang that people observed, and of course it's a notable observation, is that during the time of Noynoy, many accredit this time, yung 2010 to 2016, as one of the golden eras ng Philippine economies, no? And I remember that time talagang napakalakas ng Philippine stock market, yung mga presyo ng mga real estate nagtataasan, and business was flourishing everywhere, and the dollar and the peso was really strengthening, no? Parang it was strengthening all the way in the 40 pesos level, if not 40 to 50 level. Nag-hold siya dun sa level na yun, no? So, unlike now, many people are getting frustrated. Why is the economy, suffering under the current administration? So, what can you see are the differences? Why this happened and that happened? In my opinion, no? Kasi nakita ko si Pinoy, he inherited a very good economic background that was set and laid down by Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Ngayon, si current Bongbong Marcos, he's now struggling to, lift the economy. Now, what can you see are the key differences that they both did that led to different results?
Well, sige, unahin natin siguro muna kay Pinoy, no, kay former President Noynoy, kasi kung titingnan natin, he has a little bit of an advantage, no? Why? Because number one, before he became president, and when he became president, somehow their brand name was established, kumbaga, with good reputation, no? From the investment public, from the business community, and at the same time the international community, no? So pag sinabi mong Aquino, dahil nga si Cory Aquino became somehow a beloved president or well-loved president, so Noynoy is taking over as a brand name, no? Na when it's Aquino, more or less they will be more or less business friendly. They will be more or less flexible when it comes to economic directions, no? They will not be kumbaga pushing over business people, no? So yun yung kanyang advantage. So we may good reputation. So because of that good reputation, somehow more investors and more businesses are more excited, no, or inspired to come and do business, no, in the Philippines, or even the locals for that matter, no. So that's one key advantage that he had, no. So wala siyang baggage that he's carrying. In fact, he has a lot of kumbaga tailwind pushing him, no, to lead, no. So he has an advantage in that particular aspect, no. So number two, of course, during that time, President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo had laid down a very good economic platform, no, where he started, implementing, no, so which is also very beneficial to him, no. And then number three, of course, his team of professionals are also somehow very respectful of the business systems in the country, no. And number four, there were also some corruption issues that happened left and right, and there were also some setbacks that happened, no? Like for example, yung nangyari sa Department of Transportation that time, no, nagkaroon ng parang skandalo din doon, no?
Yung Czech ambassador, sinabi niya hindi daw siya natatakot sa isang tauhan ng Department of Transportation na kinikikilan daw yung isang Czech Republic na investor or contractor, hindi ba?
Yes, correct. Pero because nga of their management style na they're really kumbaga democratic, they observe democratic principles, adhered kumbaga firmly. So that's why somehow these things are being exposed, no? So because of that, so people are respectful of the system, of the political system, the government system, no? Because they're being exposed without being threatened. So, and then number two, of course, even though there were some corruptions here and there, nothing is being somehow pinned on him or close to him, no? So it's all basically within the confines of his trusted lieutenants, but nothing is very close to him as far as family is concerned, as far as he is concerned. They don't see that in him. They don't see any involvement at all, no? So he was not tainted with any kumbaga black propaganda or any ill repute, no, because of what's happening, no. So yun ang mga advantage ni Noynoy, no. And then of course even the Congress that time, they're somehow medyo mas well behaved, no. Yung mga gantong ghost project hindi mo talaga masyado narinig, although pumutok din that time yung Napoles, no. Pero yung Napoles na yun immediately na-address naman, kaya somehow na-address yun during the early time of his administration, kaya somehow it became a warning to everybody else to somehow behave properly, di ba, because they saw that Napoles was jail, nakita nilang naparusahan, so natakot din yung iba. Saka may mga senator talaga napakulong that time, no? 3 senator yung nadamay noon at marami pang iba. But so because of that, nakita nila na mukhang hindi talaga hindi niya pagtatakpan yung mga ganitong katiwalian. Kaya medyo gumanda yung takbo ng ekonomiya that time.
Tsaka speaking of economics, napansin ko rin nung panahon ni Pinoy, yung budget talaga, they were parang sinusubukan nilang bawasan yung utang ng Pilipinas, hindi ba? Parang yung budget deficit talagang halos binabawasan nila ng binabawasan, unlike yung nangyari in the current time where nagtiwala siya sa former speaker Martin Romualdez na talagang ni-rack up nila yung budget at pataasin yung utang ng Pilipinas. Hindi ba naka-apekto yung two different styles na yun, di ba, Dad?
Well, naka-apekto yun, pero siguro in fairness to both parties, no? So unahin ko muna kay Pinoy, no? So kasi that time when they took over the presidency from Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, former President Gloria Arroyo already laid down the foundation for the proper kumbaga management of the budget, no? Kaya kung titingnan natin yung utang natin compared to sa production ng natin, yung GDP na tinatawag natin, talagang bumaba siya,
kasi no? Maganda yung pinakita ni GMA na formula na sinundan naman ni former President Noynoy Aquino.
Correct, oo. So talagang minanage yung pag-utang at pinababa yung utang. So yun ang naging maganda ron. So pinagpatulan naman ni Pinoy at kaya bumaba yung ating loan to GDP noon from 45 or 50% naging 40%, no? Kaya nga nabigyan tayo ng mga magandang credit rating. Kaya yung pag umutang tayo mas mababa na interest kasi parang mas may tiwala na sa ating mga tao dahil alam nila na manage natin yung utang natin ng maayos, no? So yun ang advantage ni Pinoy. Kay President BBM naman, in fairness to him, kasi nga he came in right after the pandemic, no? So during the pandemic kasi, nung pandemic na panahon, talagang umutang ang ating pamahalaan under President Duterte para matustusan yung ating ekonomiya at ating mga kababayan na naghihirap at sa laylayan, no?
Lalo na ng pandemic.
Correct, kaya lumobo yung utang, no? From 7 trillion, I think, lumobo ng halos-halos nagdoble yata. Parang ganoon sa pagkakaalala ko yung utang natin, no? So from 6-7 trillion, naging 14 or 13 trillion, no? So yun ang minana ni BBM. So lumobo yung utang because of that, no? So he's coming in with a little bit of a baggage, no? Kumbaga meron ng konting binibit-bit na kumbaga pasanin, no? So pangalawa, siyempre, nung pumasok siya, siyempre meron din konting mga alingas-ngas, siyempre because yung tatay niya dati nakasuhan ng kung ano-ano, mga corruption, kung ano-ano, plunder, etc. So siyempre, merong mga konting pangamba yung mga business people, mga international community na baka ganun din yung gagawin ng anak.
Nagkaroon ng wait and see.
Oo, parang nagkaroon ng wait and see kasi parang natatakot sila dahil baka mamaya diktador na naman ito o baka mamaya maging magkaroon na naman ng mga issues diyan. So medyo tubili silang pumasok. No? So yun ang pangalawang issue doon. And pangatlo, siyempre, of course, yung international stance din ng political stance ng ating Pangulo. So siyempre, kumikiling siya more with the US. So siyempre, mga Chinese investor at mga Chinese tourists medyo nabawasan din. Kaya naapektuhan din yung ating ekonomiya. No? So yun ang mga naging differences nila when it comes to kumbaga situations or circumstances. So hindi naman natin pwede sabihin na kagagawan lahat ni President BBM to because he came in with a little bit of a baggage, no? Kumbaga may handicap siya, kumbaga sa golf medyo may dehado na siya pagpasok niya, no? Malaking utang, gagaling sa pandemya, to siyempre binibitbit niya pa yung pagdududa na baka maging diktador din siya katulad ng tatay niya, yun ang kinakatakutan ng iba, baka yung mga negosyo maapektuhan kung hindi susunod sa tamang proseso. So yun ang pangalawa doon, no? So pangatlo, siyempre dahil sa malaki ang binabayaran nating interest sa laki ng utang, naapektuhan din yung budget, no? Saka pang-apat, siyempre nagkataon din na yung mga pinagkatiwalaan niya, umutang, no? Saka pinalalaki yung budget, no? So,
tsaka hindi naging productive yung budget kasi naging ghost projects nga exposed by the president.
Correct. So, yun din ang naging isang problema niya, no? Nung kumbaga, napaikutan siya o kumbaga hindi niya siguro nakita na ganun yung laro doon, ano? So lumobo yung budget na yung karamihan sa pondong yun hindi naman nagamit sa tama. So yun ang nagiging issue dito.
And another one of the things I've noticed during the time of Pinoy versus the time of President Bongbong Marcos is the cabinet, no? Ibang-iba yung cabinet ni President Noynoy Aquino. Because if you look at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, I noticed there were very few changes or major changes or scandals within the cabinet. Talagang kung sino yung mga nakatulong sa kanya ng eleksyon, yun sila din yung mga nakasama sa kanya, yung may direct relationship sa kanya. And ngayon, kay President Bongbong Marcos, it seems that the cabinet is very detached to him. In fact, most of his cabinet, I would say, I don't know if I'm very accusatory, they're very, they only have self-interest. If their interest will be crossed, they will definitely not support the president. Yun yung nakikita ko. I may be too jumping down kasi tingin ko parang when I look at their eyes, parang hindi talaga sila, wala silang relationship with the president. Hindi ko lang kung saan sila napulot ng ating presidente. Baka napaikutan siya ng mga nag-recommend sa kanila. Pero unlike kay Pinoy, talagang medyo close yung cabinet sa kanya. Tama ba yung observation ko, Dad?
Well, I would not say siguro completely true yan, no? Kasi pag nakikita mo naman, yung iba namang kabinete, kaibigan din ng pamilya nila o kakilala din nila. Pero siguro iba din ganun nila talaga kakilala. Maaring nirekomenda ng kung sino-sino. Pero yung nga, siguro pagkakaiba nila kay Pinoy kasi yung mga kapatid niya, take note, yung mga kapatid ni Pinoy dati naglingkod sa pamahalaan ni President Cory Aquino. I think one of the sister, if I'm not mistaken, Balsi yata, is very active during that time. And somehow she has also been kumbaga one of the advisor of the former president, no? So syempre kilala na rin niya yung mga professionals o na makasama ng pamilya nila na alam nilang maayos magpatakbo, no? Kaya yun ang mga inilagay nila sa pwesto, no? Like yung Secretary of Department of Public Works, no? Kung naalala ko, di ba si Secretary Jesus ba si something like that, no? De Jesus, no? So yung mga kakilala na nila na nasubukan na nila nung panahon, no? Na yun ang mga ipinesto rin nila na mga kakilala nila na mga professional managers, no, na nagpatakbo ng kabinete niya, no. Saka number 2 nga, sige, kasi nga nakita nila na ganun din, no, na napakasimple ng lifestyle ni President Pinoy, no, kasi nga binata siya, wala naman siya talagang pinagagastusan, no, ng pera, no. So nakita nila napakasimple din yung kanyang lifestyle considering na galing siya sa mayamang angkan din, no. Saka siyempre pangulo siya, no.
He led by example, would you say that?
I would say yes, no, kasi nga pati yung no wangwang policy, no, sa kanya nagsimula yun, no, na walang wangwang para walang special VIP treatment, no. So siya yung nagpauso ng mga salitang kayo ang boss ko, di ba? Siya yung nagpauso ng pag walang mahirap, pag walang corrupt, no? So yun ang sinasabi niya na parang yun ang naging trademark naman niya ni President Pinoy, no? So in fairness naman to President Bongbong with all his good intentions, no? Kaya lang ang nangyari nga na medyo yung mga nakapaligid sa kanya, napagsamantalahan siya, no?
Yes,
so siguro kasi nga yung din yung pagpili ng mga tao, no? So yung mga pagpili ng tao siguro siyempre minsan na-mislead sila, no? Hindi naman nagabayan ng tama, di ba? Siguro yun din isa doon, no? Maari nagkamali din sa pagpili. Nobody's perfect naman kasi, no? At the end of the day, every leader, they go through a selection process or mistakes, no? Or
kasi
errors,
daming cabinet scandals in this particular administration compared to Pinoy, hindi ba, Dad?
Yes, correct, no? Kasi nga siguro ang isa doon is dahil nga pinakita ni Pinoy nung na-police time na talagang pinakulong niya yung mga senador, saka yung mga talagang talagang hinayaan niya yung hustisya na tamaan kung sino man ang tamaan, no? So doon medyo natakot yung mga members of cabinet niya na they should behave properly because this president will not tolerate us, no?
Walang protection.
Hindi ka protektahan pag nagkamali ka, di ba? Ilalaglag ka talaga niya. He will let you face the rule of law, no? So yun ang mga nang kakaiba nila, no? So of course President BBM is going through that process right now, no? He is having some dilemma because some of these people are very close to him or his friends or his relatives. So he's going through that dilemma, but eventually if he rises up to the challenge of being a statesman, he will also end up his presidency with at least, some respect from the people and from the country. No? So, yun importante ron.
So, what I can see here is for the current president to be able to, rise to the situation, he has to be able to, allow justice to, hit who it has to hit, whether kamag-anak man niya or ka-close man sa kanya or kadugo man niya, hindi ba, Dad?
Oh, correct. Yung sinasabi natin paulit-ulit yung pananagutan, katarungan at kulungan, di ba? Kasi kung makikita ng mga tao na talagang magkakaroon ng pananagutan, katarungan at kulungan, di talagang palagay ko naman maalis yung galit sa kanya o yung negative sentiment sa kanya. No? He would be admired as a president who stood up to become a statesman. No? Just like what Pinoy did. No? So, although nagkaroon din naman ng mga problema si Pinoy, if you remember, no? Not only the Department of State, Mamasapano issue, di ba? Tapos yung Hong Kong hostage crisis na namatay yung mga pasahero. Meron din naman lahat kasi ng leaders, wala naman perfecto. Minsan you make the right decisions, minsan you make the bad decisions. But at the end of the day, the overall sentiment there is, did you rise up to the occasion to become a statesman, to become the president of the country, or just to become the president of your kumbaga small conclave, no? So yun ang mga sinasabi natin. Kaya these are all challenges sa mga leaders, sa mga professionals, sa mga mamumuno ng ating sambayanan.
Yes, in fact, that's what I can see is the most important difference, no? Kasi para sa akin, both of them have generally good intentions for the country, as currently the president exposed all these corrupt people, although at least some say it's too late, but it's never too late as long as you still have the time and the power to be able to do what's right. So hopefully he can be able to achieve in the next few years what needs to be achieved to bring this country back into the right direction and bring back confidence to the country. And one of those directions is that so we can ensure a good future is education. Yun sinasabi ko sa ating mga kababayan na kung naayos ang ating edukasyon at yun ang hinihikayat natin sa pamahalaan at sa buong kapuluan, even as citizens, no, you can learn, self-educate kung hindi man mabigay sa inyong quality education. Kasi pag may edukasyon ng bawat tao, mas malalaman natin kung sino yung mga dapat maging mga bagong liderato sa bawat halalan at mapipili natin ang mga tamang liderato mula barangay captain, mayor, councilor, board member, governor, senador, congressman hanggang vice president and president, because all of these leaders contribute to the total budget of the Philippines, which will benefit your community. Kaya dapat ayusin natin ang edukasyon. Para sa edukasyon, ako si Morgan Tsay, coach ng bayan.
Mga minamahal kong kababayan, bilang isang mga mamayan, isang sambayanan, lagi nating pinapanalangin at lagi nating hangarin na magkaroon tayo ng mga mumuno at mamamahala na hindi ipagtatanggol ang mga gumagawa ng katiwalian sa ating bayan. Bagkus, ang inahangad natin at ang ating pangarap at ating panalangin, magkaroon tayo ng mga mumuno at mamamahala na ipaglalaban ang karapatan ng bawat mamamayan. Ako po si Michael sa inyong Dad ng Bayan.